What's up, guys, and welcome back to another OOTP20 episode of Hope in the Desert. As you can see, it's not going that well for us. We have somehow found ourselves on June 4th, the day of the first-year player draft, rock bottom of the NL West. And I honestly can't explain to you exactly what's going on. We've had our share of injuries, but mostly it just seems like it's underperformance and things that I can't really do much about at this point in the season. But yeah, 20-35, it's not very good. In terms of our off-season additions, kind of a mixed bag. I mean, Addison Russell has been absolutely the worst. He was on the bench for a long stretch of time, and eventually we promoted Jazz Chisholm to replace him, but then we had some injuries, and so Russell has had to come back into the team despite, not hitting really at all. Ramon Urias, though, he's been great. He has, I think, maybe the highest OPS on the team, if I remember correctly. Of anyone who's played significantly at all, the highest OPS on the team. Tyler Flowers, though, has not been great. I mean, he's been solid enough, but the power has been non-existent. So for the amount of games that he has started, that's not great. But again, he's there for mostly a defense, so I can kind of understand. Some guys that we trusted, like Christian Walker, having a good season. So it's not all bad, but it's just not good enough. And then the pitching side of things has been where it has just gone absolutely haywire, and I don't understand. Robbie Ray has not been doing well. I mean, it's not like we were expecting a 2.5 out of him, right? We were just wanting like a season like the last two seasons, 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, somewhere in there. And we're getting a 4.5 ERA, which is just not good enough. Not an addition, but just again on the pitching side of things, kind of an example of how everyone across the board has not been doing well. In terms of actual additions, Colin McHugh is just cratered, and it seems so unfair because the walks are not bad, the strikeouts are good, the home runs are a little high but not crazy. It's just that batting average on balls in play really, really hurt him, and that's, I don't know. Maybe it's fair, maybe it's not, but it just is not going his way, and by extension, not going our way. But yeah, pitching as a whole, just not good. Kikuchi has been the only one who's been pretty decent, along with John Duplantier, who's kind of there with him. Some days he's had big blowout starts, and then he's had starts that have been good, so he's kind of all over the place. Our bullpen, though, which I thought was probably the strength of the team, we had Yohan Lopez in as the closer. He blew several saves and had like a 8 ERA as the closer. So we flipped over to DeMarcus Evans. I thought this is a great time. He's 23. This is his moment. And then he came in and he's absolutely blown up. So despite getting 9 saves, he's also blown, I think, like 4. So yeah, it's not going well. Zach Godley in particular has been pretty bad. He's had 33 innings of work and has had an 8 ERA in them, which is awful. So yeah, pitching side of things is not going very well, and all of that leaves us right where we are, 20-35, bottom of the division, 13 games out of the division race, and not closer at all to the wild card. So it would take a pretty miraculous turnaround to get into the playoffs this year, especially with Mike Moustakas still injured. He got into 9 games before he got injured, and Eduardo Escobar has played only 50 games, and he's out for 2 to 3 weeks now. So it's been a rough one. Sometimes these seasons happen. I'm going to see if I can turn it around, maybe. But what we're doing in today's episode, after going on that bit of a tangent, is we're doing the first-year player draft, like I mentioned up top, and we're also going to be doing international free agent signings, as we always do. This year, though, we may have the Grim Reaper come for us a little bit early and start making some trades. It might just happen. Guys like Ketel Marte, who I just don't know if they're this good, maybe are on the block if we get something really nice back. Kelly, he's safe, but I think everyone else should kind of watch their backs unless they're like Jazz Chisholm, just a newly called up prospect. I guess the same thing goes for the pitching side. I'm not sure which pitchers anyone would really want. Maybe Jimmy Sherfy is of interest to someone out there, but I don't know. As far as prospects, also Luis Gonzalez, quick update on him. He still looks amazing. He's killing it. He's going to be up soon. And hopefully we will enjoy the fruits of his labor. And also that means that one of our outfielders is likely gone, with the easy one being sort of Ketel Marte, but maybe also David Peralta on his way out. So we'll see about that. But first, let's all take a deep breath, take a second, and let's go do this first-year player draft and hopefully just absolutely kill it. So we'll auto-draft until it is our pick. I want to make sure I'm showing all positions. We'll get a scouting director recommendation, Michael Rothenberg, who looks, that is a crazy profile. So he has huge home run power, and that's kind of it. And then he can play defense on catcher. What does OSA think? So OSA thinks he's a much more balanced player, but they don't think he's as good. So I'm not particularly drawn to him. Let's switch it over to the batting potential side of things and see if anyone sticks out. And then I will tell you who we're targeting. So Petey Halpin, pretty solid player overall. Good outfielder, can play 3 positions just about already. Is a ground ball hitter, which is not fantastic, but has a pretty decent profile and is relatively safe for an 18-year-old, especially one so advanced at avoiding strikeouts. So he's pretty good. Another guy with a great offensive profile, Alex Green. Probably can play most positions, definitely not like a shortstop, but probably second base, third base, anywhere but kind of those premium positions, shortstop and center field. But great bat on him. Probably never going to be a pitcher, so we would make that switch right away. Can already play a little bit of right field. Is a fly ball pull hitter, so there's something there. Super raw, though. I think somebody we can wait on. Here's another guy, Chase Davis, fly ball pull hitter, got some speed, got some power, plus contact, plus power, double plus arm in the outfield. Probably can play some really solid right field and definitely signable, but that also makes me think that maybe we can wait on him. So not a top target for me right now, but I think he's somebody to keep an eye on. So nobody else really catching my eye on the batting side of things. Let's go to the pitching side of things, where you could always use a pitcher. Pretty much immediately, Kevin Brewster sticks out to me. I don't really have to do any searching for him. Good intelligence, which is always nice. Throws 96 to 98. In theory, above average stuff movement and plus control. That's always nice. Changeup lagging way behind, as is pretty typical of high school pitchers. Not sure, just because he's so raw, but maybe. There's also this, so this center fielder, Sergio Moreira, really good power, which is what I saw him for first on the hitting side, but it didn't super interest me. But he also has some decent pitching ratings. Probably like a bullpen guy, but two-way player possibly, so that's kind of interesting. I have a bit of an affinity for Chase Davis, but I think we can wait on him. And I don't know why. Petey Halpin also seems really nice to me. But I think when you're splitting hairs between players that you all think are of a similar talent level, it's never a bad idea to go pitcher, and that's what my gut's telling me to do right now. So I think we go grab Kevin Brewster and just see what he can be for us. I know he's an impossible sign, but I'm not super worried about that. We have budget room, $27 million of it to be exact. So whatever he wants, we can offer him. He is 18, so he's pretty young. I worry about the changeup a little bit, but I have concerns about all of those players that I looked at. I think we're just going to go for it and fingers crossed on the lefty that throws 96, 98. Let's do it. All right, so still in the first round with some compensatory picks. Moreira has been taken, but everyone else is still available from the guys that we liked. So I think this is a prime opportunity to take Petey Halpin and just get that done and settled, and hopefully he will turn into something. I have an inkling to go after Chase Davis, but he's a very easy sign right now, which to me indicates that maybe his stock isn't as high. If he's there with our next pick, I'm taking him. But for now, we're going to go Petey Halpin. All right, last compensatory pick, and Chase Davis is still here, so we are going to go ahead and take Chase Davis and move on. All right, guys, second round action, hot and heavy. I'm looking at Mac Horvath, mostly because he's got a great eye, and I'm pretty sure this is just anecdotal, but I've tended to find in my saves that guys who have a good eye are a little bit more consistent year to year, month to month. So I kind of have that in the back of my head. And look at his makeup. He's high in leadership, in loyalty, in work ethic, and intelligence. I mean, literally the little blurb is coaches love Horvath and his makeup is off the charts. So if there's anybody that you would trust to turn out, it seems like it would be this guy. I think he can probably even play shortstop. Maybe not play it amazingly, but I think he could play it. The overall profile doesn't like scream at you, but I think everything together, it makes it to where it's a kind of safe high school pick. And I think that that's something that I'm really into. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him. I'm looking to go pitcher in the next round. So next round it is, round 4. And Joe Lucas is somebody that I'm kind of looking at who maybe, just maybe, might be able to turn into a starter. No intelligence though, so I'm not super sold, but 60, 55, 50 on stuff movement control, that's pretty nice, especially as we start to get into the later stages of this draft. And then there's also Juan Corona, who has kind of the same thing with not really a changeup, but again, good overalls that kind of look like they would work. There was one other guy. Oh, I think I had it sorted by control. Yeah, there he is. So Logan Allen, kind of a finesse pitcher, but I don't know. High control guys generally tend to be like moderately successful. Like they won't ever be at the top of the rotation, but if you need a guy that you can plug into your 5 spot and give you a 4.2 ERA every single year, those finesse guys seem to be really capable of doing that. So Logan Allen is somebody I'm looking at as well. Between the 3 of them, though, well, it's not exactly exciting, is I guess what I'm getting at. So I'm not really sure where to go. I'm going to deliberate it for a little bit, and then I'll make my decision. All right, so I really wasn't happy with any of the other options that I was able to come up with. So one more name to throw into the ring, Hunter Ruth, 50, kind of average across the board. But here's what I like about him. He's got good stamina, so we know that about him. He's got decent velocity, so that's not a concern. And he also has 3 pitches that could end up above average to plus, including a slider and a changeup, 2 secondaries that could be plus pitches. So that to me indicates some sort of safeness. And then the OSA ratings also are even better, with 3 double plus pitches and plus stuff, above average movement, and average control. So that kind of upside is probably pretty difficult to come by. And I think in general, I just like how safe it feels. I mean, he already has 40 movement. He already has 35 stuff. He already has 35 control. So I just feel like it's kind of a safe pick, and this draft, I don't know, I'm not feeling great about it so far, so I feel like I want somebody safe. And that's why I'm going to go with Hunter Ruth over somebody like Juan Corona or Joe Lucas, because I just have too many questions. So I'm going to go Hunter Ruth here. All right, so we move on to the 5th round, and my scout has recommended to me Gabe Lane, who, when you look at it, yeah, pretty solid hitter, above average tools across the board. OSA, not quite as high on him, but still thinks that big power is there. But I'm still looking at Alex Green and saying, actually, pretty similar. Above average across the board, OSA thinks great power. So I think there's more risk, but there also is possibly more upside to Alex Green. And I think that now is about the right time to strike on him. So I'm going to go ahead and take Alex Green, and hopefully he will pay off for me. So 6th round, this is about the time when I just start looking around for tools. Danny Thomas, I mean, really has nothing but that home run power, but he does have big home run power, so he's maybe somebody to give a shout to. Then there's also Andy Ball, who at this point is an impossible sign, but again, same thing, good power, especially for a catcher. Sergio Ibarra, I mean, he has about the same thing going on as Danny Thomas, so yeah, I'm just not loving a lot of what I'm seeing here. I'm tempted by Gabe Lane, who my scout recommended. It's a bit of a tough one. Even somebody like Ben Cunningham, again, these are like serious first base only types. And in the National League, where we can't really just stuff somebody into the DH and not worry about it, that worries me a lot more than, say, if I was captaining the Astros. So I've been looking a little bit at this guy named Dylan Coombs. He's got the low intelligence, but I was just looking at, he's got the plus hit tool. He's got enough about him that I could see it maybe happening. He's got the plus speed. It's a bit of a stretch, but, that's kind of all you get at this point in the draft. I think I'm going to go Dylan Coombs, at least for right now, and then we'll see what I can do in the 7th. All right, and the 7th round brings us Jeremy Crandall, who, I get it, on first look doesn't look that amazing, but he doesn't have a bad personality in the places that are really standouts, which is intelligence and work ethic. So he's not the greatest guy, but he's not bad. Double plus speed and stealing, good base running as well. Maybe enough hitting to get on base to utilize it, but here's the thing. Here are the OSA ratings. And all of a sudden, he looks like a superstar. So a little bit betting on the upside of possibly filling into those OSA ratings, but also just, again, looking for tools. He's got the speed. Maybe he has enough about him that he can learn in our organization and that he can come up and contribute at the major league level because he has that tool. So Jeremy Crandall, welcome to the Diamondbacks. Okay, and with the 19th pick in the 8th round, I think I'm going to go Norman McLean. Good, solid-ish pitcher. Might actually turn into something. I did a lot of searching, and he was kind of one of the guys that was consistent across the board and also had some high leadership. So you never know what that could turn into. Nolan McLean is the pick. And then we are going to go to the 9th round. And at this point, unless my scout brings me somebody amazing, he does not. I think we're just going to take Andy Ball off the board because I don't think we can sign him, but at least that means that no one else can either, which sounds kind of cynical. But, I just don't want him ending up on some other team and then we, see him dominating for the Dodgers in like 3 years and we go, oh my God, what did we do? We just left him there for them to take. So we're going to draft Andy Ball, and then I'm going to let my scout stretch his legs a little bit and complete the rest of the draft. So let's take a quick look at what some of these guys are asking for. The big one, of course, Kevin Brewster, the impossible sign at number 17 overall. And that doesn't look all that impossible to me. So I think we can definitely do significantly above 800K because the recommended slot bonus is like double that. So yeah, I think we can do that. Who else is impossible? Alex Green. So he needs significantly above 2.4 million. So that's maybe a little bit more than we can do. And then who is the other guy? Andy Ball. Andy Ball might be doable. So I'll have to think about that. But I think for the most part, we're going to be okay here. So I'll definitely get Brewster. I will let you know if anything goes wrong, but I'll get Brewster. I'm going to try Alex Green first, but then I think maybe Andy Ball is somebody that we can get. I'll let you know if we can get anyone else off this list as well. But for the meantime, just assume that everyone who's not impossible, they're entering our organization. So Petey Halpin, Chase Davis, Matt Horvath, and Hunter Ruth for sure. And then I'll let you know about anybody else as we make our way towards the international amateur free agents. So some quick news. Andy Ball has decided to sign with us. So another catcher in our organization along with Andy Yerzy and Dalton Varsho. So those guys are going to come in. That leaves us pretty stacked in terms of catching prospects. So one thing that does is it gives us a deeper pool to trade from. So if we were going to make any buy now trades, which at 22 and 40 it doesn't look like we're going to be doing, unfortunately, that would be a place to trade from, and catchers are generally pretty valuable, so that's kind of nice. So, trying to get some silver linings out of it, but we are just playing awfully. You can look at it. It's not good. There's a lot of red on that screen. I'll be back if there's more news. Kevin Brewster is also on board, so hopefully we have found our ace of the future. I wish we had found our ace of the present. We still haven't apparently solved that mystery, but hopefully Kevin Brewster can be somebody really solid for us going forward. I just like the look of him, and sometimes with a player you just have a feeling, and I have a feeling about this guy. I think he's going to be really good. And Alex Green, as I was worried about, is the one guy that we just can't get. So, maybe next year, but I'm not honestly too disappointed with it. I think overall I'm pretty happy with our class. We've got high upside players and high floor players, so I think that's a good mix. And for added bonus, Christian Walker has won NL Player of the Year. It doesn't matter for our record because we're still bad, but gotta focus on the little victories sometimes. All right, guys, it is time for international free agency signings. But one thing, real quick, I've made an executive decision to host a fire sale. I mean, I was kind of joking around, and I was hoping we could turn it around a little bit, just to make it respectable. But honestly, it's just been worse. I mean, you can see 10 and 14 in April, we were kind of shaky, but I was okay with it. 10 and 18 in May, it was pretty bad, and then June came around, and we were 9 and 18. Oh, man, it's just rough. I feel like we deserve better. Our Pythagorean record says we deserve better. But we're 4th in division. We're 11th in the wild card race. I just think it's time to admit that it's not happening. So we'll save the players that can go on and continue to be effective for us in future years. But, I mean, anybody who's on an expiring contract, watch out. And anybody who's playing well above what their talent level is, watch out. So let's go ahead and take a look at these international free agency signings. I might leave you with one trade, something like that, and then next episode we might do a trade deadline or something like that. It all is pretty fluid right now, but first let's just get one thing done at a time and go to international amateurs. It's the first time I've seen them along with you, so okay, that's not the worst. Ernesto Flores sticks out, but not really a defensive home that would be great for him. Talk about a name. Sibrand Lebezu? He's Dutch, which is super cool. And I might try and sign him just for that reason. But yeah, decent ratings. Nothing spectacular. What does OSA think? OSA thinks that he's literally Jesus. So that's something to think about. Juan Ramos is going to be a first baseman, so I'm not super interested. Anybody else? There's this pitcher, Lupe Roca. Nah. Yeah, unfortunately, nobody like our beloved Juan Zavala, who I swear to you, I will trade for him. One of these days, I am going to get him. But yeah, nobody like that. So I think just for, if no other reason, the cool name, Sibrand Lebezo. And I've learned from my mistakes. He wants 4.8. I'm just going to give him the straight up 5 right away, because this year's OOTP, unfortunately, is not any different from previous years. Every free agent is just going to want the absolute max. So here we go. that's our guy. We should get him. I'll let you know in a couple of days. And in the meantime, I think I am going to work on a trade. If it comes through before, let's say, I don't know, this Colorado series right here, I'll let you in. If not, we'll do the trade deadline and the end of the season next video. But yeah, if it isn't there by Colorado, we'll end the episode here. If it is, I'll go through it, and we'll have fun either way. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, guys, we have a episode ender in place. Ketel Marte, he's out of here. Socrates Brito, he's out of here. They're both heading to Cleveland. We're giving Cleveland the outfield that it has always needed, and in return, they're sending back some prospects that I really like, including George Valera and Nolan Jones. It's only 2 days before the Colorado series, so it took us a while to get here. Submitted a lot of offers, just barely got it to work. Just to say goodbye to Ketel Marte, I really do think he's a solid player. I haven't meant to rag on him as much as perhaps I have, but he's not a center fielder. He's a second baseman or a left fielder, and for that, his bat isn't that special. Like I said, still very good. Don't want to downplay him. He's a good player. I think we'll miss him a little bit. I don't know how much we'll miss him because I think he'll actually improve our defense by leaving. But a young, cost-controlled player that I just think is good to part with for now. And then Socrates Brito, kind of the same way, except he's having an awful season after a good one last year, which I felt like was kind of a fluke. It turned out that it was. And he's just not that good. He's kind of an average player at best with some defensive upside that mostly is best served in the corners. So I think we're good with that. I'm going to go ahead and complete it, and then I will show you our new players. So here is George Valera. He is the headliner in this deal. I think he's going to be amazing. OSA, not quite as high on him, but still really high. I think for whatever reason, Cleveland just wasn't super in on him. And honestly, he's a 19-year-old playing in the DSL. He can't help them right now. They're in the middle of a division race. And again, this is not a guy that would help them for a while, whereas Ketel Marte, Socrates Brito, those are guys that can help them right now. Not everyone thinks as highly of this guy as our scout does, obviously. But I think he's going to be really solid. He's a legit center fielder, has the range to play the position. And again, if he turns out like this, he's going to be amazing. Only 19, so a lot of things could happen. And again, that's part of the reason that Cleveland is willing to part with him. But I think he's going to be really solid. And then the secondary piece, Nolan Jones, bit safer bat. Still only in high A, though. So, I mean, again, not a guy that they were likely to be picking up on towards the end of the season. But it's Nolan Jones with the good eye and discipline, which again, I think I've talked about even this episode as possibly a marker of consistency that helps you out a fair bit. Average to above average tools everywhere else except for Void K's, which is probably likely to be bad forever. He's got a good personality. He's high in leadership and work ethic, so he's a bit of a captain, and he can play some decent third base. So I think they're two moves that don't necessarily help us right now, but I'm not sure how much they hurt us right now either. We're going to go ahead and stick Nolan Jones, I think, straight into Double-A and keep an eye on him by adding him to the short list and disabling his AI demotion and promotion. And then George Valera, I think I'm going to send him to low A ball and again disable his AI demotion and promotion while adding him to the short list. And as a corresponding roster move, have to bring some players up, and one of them is going to be Luis Gonzalez. I'm super excited to see what he does in the next episode. And then also there is a center fielder ready-made for us. He's not amazing, but Marcus Wilson I think will do the job for the rest of the season. We'll see how our bench coach sorts all that out for now. So he puts Steven Souza Jr. in center field. That's a bold choice. We'll have to have maybe a bit of a talk with him about that. But Luis Gonzalez, he slots right in. We'll see how he does in the next episode. But for now, I'm going to leave you with that. 35 and 55 is where we stand on July 12th. Probably some more moves to come in the next episode. So Robbie Ray, David Peralta and Christian Walker and Steven Souza Jr., I wouldn't recommend doing any long-term mortgages in the Arizona area for any of them because they're all likely to get shipped out of here as the trade deadline comes. Really disappointing, but you only do the best that you can, and we are building a monster in the minor leagues. I can just see it coming. We're going to turn this thing around. And with guys like Luis Gonzalez coming up to the Major League Club, who knows, we may even turn this season into a respectable one as well. That's all for this episode, though. I've been Archer. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Hit the like button, not for me, just for the algorithms, and I will see you guys on the next episode.